Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, depending on where you're joining us from. I hope you have a nice cup of coffee with you as we kick off today's webinar on an executive's guide to delivering value from data and AI. During the next hour, we will walk you through the 5 steps for maximizing AI success in your organization. The reason we put this together is because if there was one resounding theme last year, was that tapping into high quality enterprise data with the right foundations is critical to achieving your AI ambitions. This POV that we have developed is based on our work with tens of thousands of organizations globally on their data and AI platform strategies. The book is available for download. As you watch this, it's available on the link in the viewer watch frame that you're on right now. Please download it, review it in detail. But over the hour, we'll give you an overview of these 5 steps. So, with that, let's dive right into it and get started. By way of introduction, my name is Joeita Banerjee, and I lead our global cloud value practice focused on strategic product areas, which includes data analytics, security, and globally distributed cloud. Harnessing the power of enterprise data to drive business outcomes is the common theme across all these product areas that I am deeply passionate about. And I've been with Google Cloud now coming up in 5 years. I'm based out of New York City and work closely with customers globally. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague who's truly a thought leader in this space, Shazi Salim. You might have seen him on multiple webinars covering our data to AI topics. Shazi, do you want to give a quick intro?
Yes, thank you, Joeita. Hello, everybody. My name is Shazad. I also go by Shazi, and I lead the North America Analytics Solutions for Google Cloud. And in my role is to make sure that the solutions we are deploying, our customers are deploying in the market, are simple to deploy and getting you the TCO as quickly as you can. Thank you very much. I look forward to discussing and spending the next hour with you.
Great. Thank you so much, Shazi. So let's dive right in and let's do a little bit of context setting. Across the board, organizations are very eager to embrace generative AI solutions and want to unlock the true potential for enterprise transformation. I don't think there is a minute or a day that goes by without you hearing something about generative AI, and it's obviously rocking global markets as well. Google Cloud and National Research Group survey from 2024 found that 74% of enterprises using GenAI report an ROI within their first year, and 86% of those have reported an increased revenue of 6% or more. But they're all facing challenges in scaling from pilot projects, experimentation, to full production deployments. And so, what's really holding them back? Our research, our experience in working with customers suggests it's their data. And specifically, there are 3 main areas that organizations experience difficulties in. The first is 70% of organizations struggle with data governance, integrating data into AI models, and insufficient amount of training data. 80% of organizations need to tap into their unstructured data. The customer chats, call center recordings, employee conversations, employee handbooks, product specifications. 85 to 90% of all the data in the organization today is unstructured data. And combining your structured data with your unstructured data is what helps in creating a comprehensive data landscape to activate your AI strategy. And that's what organizations are struggling with. And finally, security. 62% of organizations find data security and privacy are significant challenges for GenAI adoption. Given GenAI's reliance on massive data sets, the lack of established security best practices, data sharing and control policies that are in place within the organization are all holding back companies. All of these points to the fact that organizations need to rebuild their data strategies, focusing on building what we are calling a modern data platform that serves as a robust foundation for your AI and Gen AI initiatives. So, how can organizations go about doing this? We've netted it down to five key steps that are critical for building a data foundation for your AI success. I'll give you an overview of these five steps. Shazzy will walk you through the details of each of them, and we'll try and make this a conversation based on our experiences. So, the first step, creating an AI first data strategy. This is a critical first step, and we will go more into it. But in the past, this is one which has probably been a step that hasn't been refreshed often. It's been glossed over. But today, this first step is the underpinning to any data platform modernization migration journey. The second, connecting all your data to AI to drive insights. The need to unify your data has not only become more urgent in the AI era, it's also becoming more challenging. Simply putting all your data into one place is often not very practical or cost effective. And that's why it's important to create a cohesive, cost optimized data foundation that breaks down the silos as well as works across clouds, establishing that single source of truth that acts as the bedrock for all your AI initiatives. The third, boosting productivity with agents in every data task. 2025 is really the rise of the agents as I talk about it. You want it to be simple for your users with various levels of technical proficiency and ability to build, deploy, and manage AI models and applications. It's all about that speed to value. And if you look at your platform, think about having an agent for data cleaning and preparation, intelligent data integration, real time fraud detection, autonomous data governance. That's what we are getting at with this data foundation that sets you up for AI success. Fourth, and this is really a holy grail, ensuring data security and governance. Data governance has always been a necessity, but the exponential growth of data in the AI era has made achieving it even more complicated. It's how you can connect high quality data to successful AI initiatives while ensuring compliance with growing regulations and empowering data driven decision making while maximizing the ROI by addressing all your data related challenges like dark data, duplicative data, dirty data. And the goal is really to establish an end to end or a cradle to grave centralized governance and organizational wide search. And finally, improving efficiency to reduce data cost at scale. I think this is one, honestly, where most customer conversations start because they have potentially a lot of the previous four steps haven't been in place. And that is why the focus is now shifted to optimizing your costs. And within this, the focus on approaching it clinically is critical because you need to look at optimization across the platform, data ingestion and extraction optimization, storage and compute optimization, FinOps to track, monitor, and create very proactive cost controls that today might not be in place. So these are the five steps for building a data AI foundation for AI success. I will return it now to Shazi to walk you through the details of each of these steps.
Thank you, Joe. So we'll get into the deep dive of all the five steps. So the first one is the first step in extracting value from AI, right, is to build a robust foundation. And to build a data and AI foundation, you need to create the data AI strategy first, right? And it needs to align with your business goals, which prioritizes data across the organization. And then, again, it needs, I can't emphasize enough, it needs to align to your business goals. So for example, we have a customer like Carrefour, it's a large retailer, right? One of their business goals was to optimize stock levels and reduce waste of their produce. They started by creating a data and AI strategy with prioritized data and AI projects, which can support that goal. So they started with creating data-driven culture where everyone understood the data they have and actively governed the data to solve for data quality and accessibility of that data to support that business goal. So they understood what the business initiatives and the business goals were they were trying to solve. They build a data strategy to support that and use data governance as a mechanism to create a data-driven culture. Remember, a strong data strategy combined with a thriving data culture ensures that every team member understands, uses, and contributes to the value of your data, leading to better utilization of AI. So there are three critical elements you need to create a great AI first data strategy. You need to treat data as a strategic asset. You need to create product owners and define roadmap and ownership, and you need to build a data ecosystem. So let's use the examples from a couple of different industries to see how it actualizes in practically. So when you're articulating how to treat data as a strategic assets, this involves implementing data governance, including data quality as a first step to ensure that the data is accurate and up to date. So in financial services industry, this support use cases like KYC, know your customer, AML, anti-money laundering compliance use cases, which is crucial for AI-powered fraud detection systems. To create a product owners and defining roadmap ownership, this means creating a data mesh strategy, appointing a central data team to establish a governance requirements and support the data platform while assigning data stewards to different domains. So in retail organization, for example, the domains can be supply chain, marketing, and sales to ensure that the stewards, right, are ensuring the data quality and they own the data, right? To build a data ecosystem specifically from data monetization perspective, this involves implementing a data catalog to make sure it's easier for external and internal partners like your data analysts, your data scientists, to find and access the data they need for developing the AI powered applications or leveraging the data for data clean rooms. So for example, in CPG, right, a consumer packaged goods industry, a company in that company, this means doing market analysis, trend forecasting, targeted advertising campaigns using the data ecosystem from your internal partners as well as your external partners. So there is a lot within these three critical elements, but the essence is an effective data culture creates a shared understanding of using, owning, and creating value from data. The shared set of values, expectations, and capabilities is the foundation for successfully implementing a data strategy. So, Joita, I know you spend a lot of time with CDOs and working with them with their data and AI strategies. What are you hearing and seeing, and can you share your perspective?
Sure, Shazi. This is an interesting one. Over the last year, across my customer conversations, this has been one constant ask. How do we create an AI first data strategy? And, so much so, Shazi, this is not just a CIO priority, it is a CEO and board priority where board members want to understand how they can accelerate their business goals and drive revenue growth for the business with an AI first data strategy. It's been my pleasure to present to many board meetings this last year, and the depth of knowledge, the rigor in approach, and the focus on outcomes is really palpable. In my mind, Shazi, there are really three key tenets, if you think about, that's resonating with the boards and that's focused on building this AI first data strategy. First, as you rightly mentioned, your data strategy has to be in alignment with business objectives. And what we're doing with CDOs is really starting to start the conversation and push them to think about the strategic objectives and the business problem that the organization is solving for. I think it's important for all of us to remember this is not an IT problem. This is a business problem we are all solving. And next, in today's world, you're solving for a strategy that needs to have some core guiding principles. And we'll get into these principles, through the session. But if I could net out a couple of them, there's purposeful data management, capturing the power of real time insights, as you mentioned, defining what those critical data domains are for your business, developing an approach that allows you to tap into multimodal data, and thinking about an approach where you are providing for an ecosystem that allows for true democratization of that data. So these are some of the core guiding principles. And then finally, the third one, Shazi, is all of this is enabled by a technology platform that provides you with the capability to build for the future. And that platform has to solve for some critical levers: cost, price performance, scalability with governance and security while driving the business outcome. So when you put all of this together, that becomes the fundamentals of an AI first data strategy that we're helping so many customers build. And once this first step is in place, you can truly create tremendous value for the enterprise across the board. So that's been my experience, Shazi.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Joe. And to add to it, one of the things which I'm also seeing a lot is that our customers, they already had the data strategy in place, but with the advent of AI and Gen AI, they are revisiting the data strategy to make sure that some of the elements which are required for AI initiatives are embedded as part of the data strategy. So the data strategy and the AI strategy are truly aligned. They're becoming one rather than having two separate strategies. Especially, the as you mentioned, the advent of real-time insights is becoming a really important topic where you want to make sure that the data which is generated can become the input to the AI model, so you can train on them as fast as you can. Thank you for Joe. Thank you for sharing that, Joe. Uh, so we'll get into the next step of as you are thinking about your data and AI, your data and AI foundation and trying to drive value of AI. What are the second step in the process is one of the things we are noticing that in the age of AI specifically, organizations are moving beyond simply collecting and storing data, right? That was a huge focus on it, up till 2 years ago. But now what customers are realizing is that to truly unlock the power of AI, we also must need to connect all the data and make it readily available for analytics and machine learning, right? It's just not enough to just kind of collect and store data and let the AI teams just access the data. The applicability and availability of that data it's also very, very important to drive value from AI. So the interconnectedness allows us to break down data silos. It gains so customers can get a holistic view of operations, extract value insights, and improve decision making to create new business opportunities. So to effectively connect all data to AI, right, you have to include these three steps. First step is you have to develop an open data approach. So you have to embrace a data lakehouse type architecture that can handle diverse data formats, types, and formats, including structured, semi-structured, unstructured data. So for example, in retail industry, this would involve building a data lakehouse that combines customer purchase history, online browsing behavior, social media sentiment, and market trends to create a comprehensive view of the customer preferences and predict future demand. The second step is to understand how you will harness all data types and formats. So you will need to integrate data from various sources, including transactional systems, operational databases, data warehouses, external feeds, weather data. It becomes a very important aspect. And the third step, and the most important, is how you will activate your data for real-time insights. This will include implementing real-time data streaming capabilities to capture and analyze data and enabling faster responses to events and trends. So for example, a healthcare provider would implement real-time data streaming to analyze patient vital signs, lab results, medical history, and to enable early detection of potential health issues and provide proactive interventions. So to put all this together, a great example is Wendy's, right, which is using Google Cloud to build a unified data platform that integrates data from across restaurants, including point of sale systems, mobile app orders, and delivery services. By connecting this data and applying AI and machine learning, Wendy's can optimize their menu, right, personalize marketing campaigns, and improve their overall customer experience. Connecting all your data to AI is a crucial step towards building a truly data-driven organization that can leverage the full potential of AI. So as we integrate AI deeper into the data strategy, it is also essential to empower our teams to work more effectively and efficiently. AI agents can play a crucial role in boosting productivity by automating repetitive data tasks and augmenting human capabilities. So these agents can act as virtual assistants, helping with data discovery, data preparation, data analysis, data visualization. So a lot of time which data analysts and that's data scientists spend on is cleaning the data, right? An agent to help you do with data discovery and data cleansing is a very important aspect of making sure that there is more efficiency for the data analysts and data scientists to utilize their time, right? So by freeing up the valuable time and resources, AI agents can enable data professionals to focus on higher value activities, such as developing innovative AI applications and extracting deeper insights from the data. So to maximize the benefit of AI agents, customers should evaluate the following. One, right? The first thing is ease of use. It needs to be easy for data professionals, otherwise it doesn't get used, right? So it needs to be easy, and it needs to accommodate varying level of technical expertise to interact with and utilize AI agents. The second thing which is important is you need to be able to integrate the AI agents with existing tools and workflows. So you have as you're evaluating, you got to continuously ask that, is this AI agent be seamlessly integrated into our existing platforms, tools, and workflows, right? And the third thing which is very important is customizing and flexibility. So you got to ask, as you're doing the evaluation of agents, is can this agent be customized and adapted to meet a specific business need and data challenges? So a great example for that is Home Depot, right? And they're using Google Cloud's AI and Google Cloud's AI scalable infrastructure to power their Sidekick app, right? So this agent leverages computer vision to quickly locate products within the store, and it dramatically reduces search times and enhance associates' productivity. So by incorporating AI agents into our data strategy, we can empower our teams, accelerate our AI journey, and unlock new levels of efficiency and productivity. As we connect and utilize more data for AI initiatives, it becomes increasingly critical to prioritize data security and governance, as Joe mentioned upfront, right? This is becoming a very hot topic as part of board conversations, technical conversations, business conversations, right? So with the growing volume and complexity of data, we must ensure that sensitive information is protected and compliant with relevant regulations. So a robust data strategy and governance framework not only mitigates risk and builds trust with the customers and stakeholders, but also enables responsible and ethical AI development, right? To effectively ensure data security and governance, customers should evaluate the following. So one is data quality, right? Are there mechanisms in place to ensure data accuracy, completeness, and consistency, which are crucial for building reliable and trustworthy AI models? Second is compliance. As you're evaluating your data security, as you're evaluating data security and governance tools and making it part of your strategy, you need to ask yourself, does the platform provide tools and features to help organization comply with data privacy regulations? Are there built-in reporting and built-in compliance control systems such as for GPDR, CCPA, and HIPAA? The third thing, which is also very important from security perspective, is you got to ask yourself is, does the platform offer robust security measures such as encryption, access controls, threat detection, protecting sensitive data from unauthorized access and cyber attacks? So a great example for this is MLB, Major League Baseball, which uses Google Cloud to protect sensitive player and fan data while powering the AI-driven analytics platform. So they leverage Google Cloud security tools to ensure compliance with industry regulation and maintain fan trust. So by prioritizing data security and governance, you can foster a culture of responsible AI development, build trust with the stakeholders, and ensure the long-term success of AI initiatives. The fifth step, right, which is needed to extract the most value out of your data and AI, is to make sure that, where every conversation starts, as Joe said, is improving efficiency to reduce data cost and scale, right? So as our data volume keeps growing, right, and AI initiatives, new AI projects are being kicked off by organizations, right, it becomes crucial to optimize efficiency and cost control. A well-designed data platform should enable us to scale our AI workloads while minimizing unnecessary expenses. This involves streamlining data pipelines, optimizing resource utilization, adopting cost-effective storage and compute solutions. So by improving efficiency, we can maximize the return on our data investments and ensure that our AI initiatives remain sustainable and scalable in the long run. To effectively improve efficiency and reduce data cost, customers should evaluate the following. So the first is workload automation. Can the platform automate data management tasks, such as provisioning, scaling, backups, so it can reduce the manual effort and optimize resource utilization? For cost optimization tools, you got to ask, does the platform offer tools and feature to monitor, analyze, and optimize data storage and compute cost? And from scalability perspective, you got to ask yourself if the platform scale seamlessly to handle growing data volumes and AI workloads without compromising performance and cost efficiency. Now, all these things, right? And so far, all the criteria we have been identifying, as you're thinking about the data and AI strategy and the platforms you're investing in, you got to make sure that these come out as first-class citizens from the platform itself, rather than you implementing something new on top of it. So, for example, when you're thinking about scalability, right, you got to see that, are you looking at serverless platforms, right, which can help you scale to very small workloads to very large workloads, right? As you're thinking about cost optimization, the platform needs to provide you with FinOps tooling, right? So these are all the capabilities which you need to be looking in the platform, because that would help you scale the AI initiatives across the organization rather than just tying it to us very specific teams, right? So a great example is Ford Motor Company, right? So where they migrated a significant portion of their data estate to Google Cloud's managed services, right? Including Cloud SQL, Spanner, BigQuery, right? So this was a strategic move, right? To free their DBAs from time-consuming maintenance and allowing them to focus on high-value projects, and this ended up resulted in 30% improvement in their data state performance, right? So by focusing on efficiency and cost optimization, you can ensure that the data platform can support the growing demands of the AI initiatives and deliver maximum value to the business, and at a cost which is not hindering which is not increasing cost as the data grows. Right. So, to put it all together, here's an example for sort of the customers we worked with last year, right? So Bears is a global they have a global data assets team, which was responsible for providing farmers with critical data-driven insights to improve crop yields and sustainability. So, however, they're the systems the data infrastructure which they were using before, right? The challenges they were running into was that it was having a hard time it was having a hard time handling the increasing volume and complexity of the data, especially as they were sort of kind of expanding into the newer markets. So this hindered their ability to deliver timely information to farmers, and it potentially impacting their decision making and agricultural outcomes. So to address the challenge, they migrated their platform to Google Cloud data AI solutions, right, to accommodate anticipated increased demands from their customers as they were moving into new markets. So this was a strategic move, right, was to transform their business, right? So they had a business strategy in place where they wanted to enter the new markets, and the data strategy was there to support the business, to say, if you want to get into the new markets, there'll be explosion of new data coming in, and we need to make sure that this data is accessible and can process quickly, right, without missing out key business moments. And that's where they ended up decided to look at what platforms are available, which can help them with this data explosion, right? So with the move now, right, they were able to handle the data demands with ease, right, ensuring that the farmers receive timely access to the critical information, the business events, right, and the improved performance and efficiency enabled bears to better support their customer, right, and to drive innovation in the agricultural industry. So again, can't emphasize enough on having the foresight, the data strategy forces you to come up with what is the anticipated outcome you're looking for, and you can start making goals upfront to be able to support that by doing the right choices for the platform and your AI initiatives, right? So the key business outcomes which Bears specifically saw, they had improved decision making, they enhanced the customer experience. They had increased efficiency. So the new infrastructure, right, to streamline their data operations, reduce the manual effort, freed up resources, and it aligned with strategic initiatives. So, and they also have scalability for future growth, right? So if they want to go into a newer markets, right, the platform is now designed that it can handle the increased workload without them bringing down the existing applications and then coming up with a migration for anything, right? Uh, One thing I also want to point out here is up here, right? The Bears already had a business strategy and an AI strategy in mind, right? They already had it written down and they were already executing. But as you're executing, new business initiatives come up, and that involves you to think about updating your data strategy, right? So it's an iterative process, it's not one and done. And then as you're doing the iterations, you have to have a hard look to see is your current platforms and technology can support the updated strategy, right? And this is where a lot of conversations and the magic starts happening, where you start realizing, oh, there are better ways of doing certain things, or maybe there are newer things which you want to utilize, and the only way you could do that is if you had to pick this outcome versus that outcome, right? So it's a great example on how we need to continues to think about what our strategy should be and iterate on it based on the newer business initiatives and the business strategic priorities which are evolving, right? So with that, but now I wanted to sort of kind of move it over to Joe a little bit and have some questions answered by Joe, because she's been involved with a lot of board level conversations and at the CTO and the CDO level. So Joe, with that, I had a few questions, and I hope everybody finds it valuable. Uh, Joe, you talked about data strategy and how important that is to customers as it relates to four other areas that we talked through. I wanted to understand what's top on mind for customers and how we are specifically helping them to achieve those goals.
Yeah, sure. Shazi, I think one of the first questions that we get in speaking with CDOs is, how should I prioritize my data investments? And as you know, my team and I, we work with customers not only to define that data strategy, but we also come in to present the business justification to the CFO, to the board on their data investments. And when we think about that business case, there are many critical levers that customers today are considering as they prioritize their data investments. I think the first one is, what is the ROI of my investments? And so not only are they looking to understand how this data platform will drive revenue growth, customer acquisition, pricing optimization, solving for critical problems across the value chain. That's one component to it. And then they're also looking on that cost level, the cost optimization piece, right? Are you really investing in a platform that can drive cost optimization while your data scales? So that's one piece of it, the ROI of my investment that they're looking at as they prioritize. The second is always about the people. You talked about this notion of data agents, and true democratization of data. CDOs consistently are saying give me a strategy and give me an approach that allows me to make my people more productive and deliver that productivity savings as I'm able to enable self-serve analytics, as I'm able to empower them with repeatable insights, right? That's the second piece of it. And then the third piece, I think, is risk mitigation and fastest time to value. Everybody wants to solve for these problems yesterday. So not only are they focusing on security, compliance, governance, they're also focusing on how do I think about the fastest time to value. And as I create this, migrate to modernize, if you will, approach, we're thinking through de-risking migration strategies that will allow them to drive time to value. And what I mean by that is you can either migrate to deliver cost optimization, you can migrate to optimize to and modernize to get value from your AI use cases, right? So if I was to recap, the three main vectors of information CDOs and CFOs are looking for as they make these investment decisions is: one, what is the ROI of my investment? What is the people productivity that I'm going to be able to enable? And how can you de-risk my data platform and my business outcomes and deliver the fastest time to value for me? So that's what we've been seeing in our conversations, Shazi.
That's great. And also one of the things which I'm seeing a lot is that as customers are doing POCs, specifically from our ROI side, right? The Gen AI POCs are done. Like that was last year already, right? And now it's making its way to productions, and that's why the ROI conversations are coming more and more, right?
Yeah,
And even when the ROI conversations are coming, customers wants to pick the one of the things I'm seeing is that this fine balance of, is it going to help me in my business and cost, right? So you need an open, like a lot of things which I hear is like an open system which can embrace all the technologies from other places, just so I can pick what meets my business needs and not locked in with what Google is providing, for example.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
excellent. Do you want to shed some light on, like as customers are coming, like, every customer has picked different platforms over years, right? There's a lot of investments being done. So as customers are talking to you, their data is scattered across a lot of legacy systems. Uh, and migrating to cloud, right, can be quite daunting. So any suggestions, or what you've been telling customers?
Yeah, sure. And Shazi, you and I both have seen this as we talk to customers. You enter a conversation and you start hearing about all the legacy systems. And sometimes, honestly, they don't even know about all the systems in place. That is the reality, because enterprises have scaled over time, have built, purpose built solutions, if you will, and it's created a very fragmented ecosystem. And now, when we come to this notion of creating a unified data platform, that truly is a daunting task. And I don't for a minute shy away and recognize, empathize completely actually with the challenge that they have. So I'll give you a couple of things that we've been doing in close collaboration with our partners and our PSO teams. Is the first step is we're looking to assess and prioritize, right? What is that data estate inventory, doing a very structured discovery. I will say making it time bound is extremely important, but a structured discovery to truly understand the landscape. And that is really the first step we want to be able to do with our customers. The second is this business value analysis, right? What are my most critical data sets that I absolutely need to have in my control that will allow me to add value to the business and create very structured decision making? How do I really not focus on anything that is lower on the priority, but focus first on the most critical business value and business operation data sources? The third that you've been talking about so much and is so critical, the governance and compliance, right? We start peeling the onion on what are the governance and compliance requirements and what is the true operating model that you need. After that, what we're looking at is doing a deep technical architecture and foundation discovery to really define that future state. and developing a POV on what I talked about earlier as well. And this is the same thing as it comes to integrating these legacy systems is what does your future state look like and how do you migrate? How do you de-risk that migration? Are you migrating to optimize? Are you migrating to modernize, right? So you find what a lot of customers are doing is they're starting small and then they're scaling, they're prioritizing business value, they're leveraging a lot of automation, and we're also, Shazi, as you know, bringing the power of AI and LLMs to our migration services to help our customers get started on that cloud journey and the consolidation faster, right? And with tools around data governance. So I think the key, if I was to leave with one message, is start small and then scale.
Actually, that's a great point, and there's so much nuance there, right? So when you think about start small and scale, so when you say start small, that means you're going to pick a data domain and you're going to migrate that, and you're going to kind of keep going domain by domain. But that doesn't mean that your end applications only would leverage that domain, right? You still need access to the rest of the data as well, right? Maybe for a certain type of analysis. So one of the things which we are seeing is that what customers really like is some sort of a unified layer which ends up can hold the data, right? For example, for cost optimization, customers might want to move data from legacy warehouse to cloud storage, right? But then also having the capability within the unified layer to proxy data which sits elsewhere, right? So then moving forward, you have this one layer where you kind of access the data. Some data is native, some data is sitting somewhere else, but you have this unified layer which can provide you security and governance, right, across the organization. So you don't have to start big. You're not doing a big bang migration because that type of initiatives are very hard to support, right, from the business perspective level. So starting small, I think it implies that you need to have that unified layer, which is going to give you the ability to proxy data where it sits right now, as well as give you for some types of data which you choose to migrate. It also supports a native storage to give you the ability to reduce cost, optimize efficiency, whatever it may be. Yeah, cool, excellent. So last question. So with so much data that that organizations have, what are some of the ways you're seeing how they are tapping it into? Is it everybody looking for modernization use case? Are there other things on the radar you're seeing as well? Could you share some of that?
Yeah, sure. And something that's, again, in the ebook, I highly recommend everybody look at. But as you tap into this dark data, if you will, the unstructured data, what AI and Gen AI is allowing organizations to do is tap into the data to create significant monetization opportunities. It's an interesting statistic I read from Gartner, which predicts that more than a quarter of Fortune 500 CDAOs will become responsible for at least one data analytics based product that becomes a top earner. So, everybody, as they tap into all the structured, unstructured data, is looking to capture value and almost diversify their revenue streams and create net new revenue streams with monetization strategies. And some of the steps we've been taking with customers, and I will say we're in early stages of this. We ran a survey with about 410 customers, and while monetization was very high on the priority list, I think the execution of it is still something most companies are working through. And some of the steps we've been working with customers on is like identifying that data product, who's the audience you want to go to, what are the data sources you want to tap into and pull together to create that value proposition, and think about the pricing model. And when you think about the monetization strategy itself, a lot of companies are now looking at, do I provide data as a service? Do I provide insights as a service? Do I create a completely net new product? Or do I create some kind of a recommendation engine, like a personalization recommendation engine that you can pull in as an API? So there are many pathways, and that monetization strategy is one that a lot of customers are thinking through. I think we've, on other webinars, Shazi, you've talked through building these data products where you're taking the raw data through clean rooms, curating the data through our analytics hub, and providing these data products and services to consumers. And finally, once they have this, they're looking to launch, evaluate, iterate, right? So I do think monetization, as you think about kind of the next horizon, diversification of revenue, is really important, because the volume, the veracity, the velocity of data, if you will, is going to keep increasing. And in it, how do you capture the value to create net new services and capabilities for your end user is going to be a game changer. So that's one, I think, area that's coming up more and more in our conversations, and it's really interesting the way companies are tapping into that data set to get value.
Very cool. Thank you, Joe. Very insightful, and I agree. Like I think for each of the slides we talked about, we tried to put in a lot of data, and we took a high level overview, and each of them requires a little deep dive, and hopefully we can create a series around that. So that'd be great. With that, Joe, I'll give it to you. To go through the next couple of bits of the presentation.
Yeah, sure. And we will be taking questions. I see we already have several questions coming through. So just as a reminder, Shazi and I just walked you through at a very high level the 5 steps for building a data foundation for AI success. These are critical as you think about taking advantage of this incredible AI opportunity that can be a game changer for enterprises. As a call to action, in addition to downloading the ebook, you will find two critical next steps that you can also take, right? When we talk to a lot of customers that are frankly unfamiliar with us, or really want to get started on this data modernization journey, they want to understand if their data foundation is ready for AI. So we have partnered with the product team and the marketing team to create a very simple questionnaire. That's the first one that talks about your data and AI strategy assessment. Please download it, walk through the steps, give us feedback on the questions you are seeing there. But it'll provide you with a very nuanced perspective on where you are on this journey, what are some of the steps and recommendations we've provided other customers, what we recommend for you to take a look at. So please go ahead and download that. And the second one is really focused more around migration, and the reason we wanted to highlight that one as well is ultimately at Google Cloud, we want to be your strategic partner. And as you look to migrate, we want to make this a seamless journey for you. We have various, I'll say, funding capabilities, product credits, and overall a partner ecosystem that allows you to make this migration easy. So please take a look at that. Reach out to us if you have any questions. So with that, I will take a couple of questions. Shazi and I will tag team on these very quickly. We have about 10 minutes left. So maybe I'll take the first one here, Shazi, and then please feel free to jump in. Um, we have a question on, I would like clarification on what a product owner is in the slide for step 1. It's a great question. Thank you for the question. What we find is a lot of companies really are starting with this notion of defining what data as a product means, right? And this is truly the bridge between the tech users and the business users. And we call them the producers and the consumers across your data platform. And so when you think about data as a product, very quickly the domains become important, right? Like your marketing domain, your supply chain domain, your inventory domain. And that domain oriented definition then allows you to create a structure which makes that data product discoverable, addressable, understandable, and each of them becomes autonomous and has a life cycle of its own. Now when you've got that data product defined, I think then it becomes very important to have a couple of key roles that surround that data as a product. You have a data product owner who creates the data product that generates business value, ensures the discoverability, the accessibility, and trust for the data products. You have a data domain owner who is accountable for providing the value and protection from that data. You have a data consumer, as I talked about, who are consuming all the data to be able to do reporting and analysis and insights to drive the business. And then you have the data platform owner. So you're building that reusable data product for these product owners and owning the platform that houses the discovery of these products. So I think what we are trying to really think about and talk to our customers about is define that notion of data as a product, rethink the ownership that surrounds it to create this squad of ownership on data product, domains, consumers, users, governance, and platform. That's our approach. I hope that helps. Shazi, would you like to add anything to that?
Uh, yeah, so that's I think you covered everything. I was just going to use an example of one of the things I've seen recently, right? So what one of the customers did was, as data is coming in, it's coming in raw, right? So you're consuming all this application from all your end applications and generation of from systems and all that. As data comes in, that's your first layer of data, right? Then you start doing more and more aggregation around this data, right? And the reason why you're doing the aggregation is to be able to serve to different business users, to be able to get the data in a meaningful way, right? So what the core role of a data product, well, what a data product owner is to understand who your stakeholders are for that data, right? So if it's a data scientist is a stakeholder, right, then they might care about data which is non-aggregated. But if it's a business analyst stakeholder, they might care about data which is more aggregated, right? So as a data product owner, you need to be able to understand who your stakeholders are and where they are going, right? Because then you could define a data product to say, okay, well, I'm going to be able to service a couple of different stakeholders. That's what the stakeholders I'm going to work with. And then I'm also going to provide them with certain things. I'm going to provide them that the data quality is 90% of this data, right? The data freshness is real time or batch, right? So you could define the different attributes of data as part of the data product. And then when you're the owner, you got to continuously make sure that you're servicing your stakeholders within the organization, right? Or external, because you could take a data product and you can think about how to monetize it. So the aggregation, as you're doing it for business analysts, might be different than the aggregation you might do it for your end user, right? Because the end user might not have any of the sensitive information, customer information, which you might provide to a business analyst, right? So as a data owner, it's a very powerful you need a very powerful vision to be able to say how you're going to service that data to the rest of the organization. And that's why a lot of customers are thinking about having data owners who understand the domain of data and the stakeholders of data. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you for that, Shazi. Let's look at a second question here that's come up. So this is Shazi, a question for you. Would Shazi or team have any technical resource partners that we could tap into to make this framework easily applicable? And I think Shazi, correct me if I'm wrong, they're probably referring to the governance framework, but maybe you could touch upon like how we work with technical resource partners and what other teams are available that can help our customers on this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for the question. What we have done is that over time we have sort of synthesized on what a good framework should look like, right? So typically we have broken the framework down into three major steps. One is, how do you define data stewardship? How do you define data quality? And how do you define data management, right? And the framework kind of walks you through on the details on how to do that and what are the implementation steps you do. So the framework is already built, right? As part of as part of this, we have a lot of partners, right, who are enabled on this, and they can work with you, right, to make it applicable for your business goals, right? So we have a very large set of Google Cloud partners. We also have we also have a set of data governance experts within Google. If you're trying to do brainstorming strategy, right, we could come in and do the strategy for you. And for implementation perspective, we typically bring in partners who can help you make that vision real. So you get kind of best of both worlds, where strategy, you work with people, like you're working with people like Joe, myself, right, to kind of understand how to build that strategy, and then the partner kind of comes in and makes it robust and real time, like make it applicable and create a blueprint for your organization, so everybody within the organization can follow the best practices or use the tools which they implement, that the partners are implementing.
Great. Thank you for that, Shazi. I think we have time for one last question, and this has been coming up across a lot of our conversations. This is around, how do you establish a governance framework for compliance with all the changing regulations and standards when it comes to suggesting clients on de-risking strategies in this context? We used to look into the governance first approach along with all the key points you shared. Can you expand more on it? So, Shazi, do you want to talk about it a little bit? And I'll just share my perspective. A lot of AI regulations and standards are consistently and very rapidly changing, if you will. And what is happening in the world is, everybody needs to create, and a lot of customers I'm working with are actually creating these AI COEs. And these AI COEs are keeping abreast with the latest changes, all the nuances of the regulations that will affect their strategies. And they're consistently keeping it refreshed. And that then starts informing their governance, the ethics, the training that they are giving around responsible AI, that feeds into kind of this cradle to cradle governance framework that they have to constantly refresh. Shazi, would you like to add to that? And then I think we're at time.
Yeah, I think you covered pretty much everything. I'll just use an example for a customer we were working with recently. It was more on the HIPAA side of things, right? So we have a, and I don't mean to get into the product side of it, but we have something called Dataplex, right, which is essentially a first class citizen within the Google Data Cloud's infrastructure, right? And within Dataplex, the capability is the data governance capability. So what you end up doing is, typically when you're thinking about HIPAA compliance, right? So, you need to make sure that your infrastructure is HIPAA compliant. That's the first thing. And from data perspective, your governance layer, right? That's enforcing the compliance on whichever compliance is applicable to you, right? Like HIPAA, or if you're looking at GPDR, whichever it may be, right? But the goal kind of comes into is that how your governance is enforcing it on the data as you're collecting it, and going back to the data owner, or the data owner concept, right? They are responsible to make sure that they are looking at the reports which are generated by the governance framework. To make sure that they are in compliance. So it's a very high level answer. We're happy to dig in a little more, but that's what we're seeing quite a bit.
Perfect. I see we have a couple of more questions, specifically, Shazi, around our solution on data clean rooms, pricing, simplifying the complexity of pricing models. I think each of them is a topic on its own, and makes for really interesting conversation. I think we are at time. So thank you again, everyone, for joining. Shazi, thank you for doing this with me. This was such a pleasure. I really hope our viewers are able to find value from this ebook. It's been a labor of love. It's been a lot of work with our product teams, our engineering teams, word from the field, word from our customers, in really trying to simplify the 5 steps that you need to think about. Please reach out to us if you have more questions. With that, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much.